Streaming live on YouTube and on 1017 The Truth.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
Listen to the home of the 5K Gruber Cash Giveaway. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's Vader time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm your host of Truth to Power, Kyle Walton. I'm coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talking text line, 833-212-1017. You can call in, you can text in with any thoughts on today's show. In addition to that, if you want to watch and stream us live on YouTube, all you got to do is go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That's 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Go ahead, click that Truth to Power. Make sure y'all give us a like. Make sure y'all give us a share. And make sure y'all give us a subscribe as well, so you never miss any of your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows. Boy, what a weekend it was. Shout out to my producer, Rhea Riley, holding down the ones and twos.
Hey, y'all.
And shout out to you, Truth Nation, as always. And what a weekend it was. It was nice and hot. I did a little watch some college football on a patio. It was fun. It was a good time. Then I went out to these streets. I hit the streets Saturday night for the first time in a long time. Let me tell you, I was tired. I went to the Outsider, celebrate my boy's birthday, and so I was tired. We was like, boy, this is a long day. We was ready to go home. A great time hanging out on Saturday, but it was a good weekend. No complaints whatsoever. But I'm be honest, Truth Nation, we got bathrooms down here in our studio area, which are only supposed to be for on-air people or people who are production, But all the folks upstairs, they come downstairs and use our bathrooms all the time. And we got 2 bathrooms. Now we down to 1. And I had to pee before the show. I had to pee bad. Had to pee real bad. There's only 1 bathroom. 1 bathroom, they said, is overflowing with boo-boo. And the other one, somebody was in the bathroom. I'm sitting there just waiting. And you're like, oh, my gosh. They sitting there probably doing something else in there. It took forever. So I had to run upstairs to go use the bathroom. I'm a little exhausted right now. A little exhausted. But at the end of the day, I'm here. And I'm happy to be here. But again, that was not what I did. I didn't do that. I just had to pee. I did not do that. But 833-212-1017. Again, that is Truth to Power here on 1017 The Truth. And with that, as always, Truth Nation, we always start off Monday's show with a recap of the weekend. So here is the weekend recap.
Truth Nation, we know you have a busy life and the weekend went by too fast. If you missed any of the headline stories, no worries. We got you covered on the top stories you may have missed. Tap in for the weekend recap on Truth to Power. Kyle, tell Truth Nation the biggest headlines they need to know.
Truth Nation, we're going to start off with a national story because it's fresh on my mind. And I remember this weekend, I was in the house and all I heard was, I said, what the hell? What's going on? The Louvre in Paris was robbed. I said, oh, yeah, I heard that. I heard about that. They said, that's a big deal. I said, yeah, it's a big deal, but I don't know how this happened. So just so y'all know, those who are cultural, I'm a cultural brother, cultural Negro, as some would say. And I've been to Paris, France before. I've also been to the Louvre before, so I've seen that painting of the white woman, the Mona Lisa. Are you all familiar with it? I've seen the Mona Lisa in person before. I've been to the massive museum in Paris, France. And so I don't know if I saw this, but I guess during daylight, in the middle of the day, within 7 minutes, I believe it was 4 individuals were able to go into this museum and steal a priceless, yes, priceless. That's how much, they couldn't even put a price on it. And stole a priceless crown jewel from like the old French monarchy or something like that. And so now it's like they said it's a national humiliation for the country of France because this crown that was passed down and in a museum that has security somehow got stolen in 7 minutes, and they're trying to find it before they melt down the gold or whatever, the pieces to try to sell it. I was like, how are they going to sell this? But I guess they melted down. Yes, Rhea, you must be into this.
I am. I talked about that yesterday. It's several crown jewels from Napoleon and Josephine Bonaparte.
Oh, wow. Napoleon.
Yes.
Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And they rode off on a scooter.
Wow. That's crazy. If y'all don't know who Napoleon is, he was a leader of France in the 1800s or 1700s. You did, yes. 1800s. Rhea told me the 1800s. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know. He was a midget. He was a little person. Short. I apologize. I apologize in advance for that. I apologize. That's on me. What? He was short. Napoleon was short. They said he had short man syndrome. That's what it was. Anyways, I didn't mean to say that. But that was the first story of the day to talk about that. Now moving in here to Milwaukee, and MPS wants more teachers. Yes, MPS currently has 83 teaching vacancies, and they're looking for ways to fill this gap. And one way to fill it is they are turning to retired teachers, and they're asking them to come back to the classrooms, right? And the district is offering a $1,000 bonus incentive to retirees to come back into these classrooms. And a nice thing they're also offering to do, because when you're retired and you're collecting a check, I guess when you're retired, you can only work so many hours and collect your actual check. I'm not retired, so I don't know all the ins and outs. But what they're offering some of these retirees is they're saying, hey, if you come back in the classroom, we'll split up the duties so you don't work more hours than you can in order to, still collect your retirement check. So I said, oh, that's what's up. So they're offering them an opportunity to come back to the classroom to pay these folks to come teach these kids because there's a gap of 83 students. Now, I like the idea. I like it. But I'm gonna tell you this right now: a $1,000 incentive. That's it. I'm not higher than that. I take $1,000. I would take $1,000, but a $1,000 incentive is not I don't think it's going to be enough to get these folks from their retirement to go back into the classroom. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. That $1,000 to taxes hit. Now, I remember when we were here at The Truth, when we hit budget, we gave people bonuses. I got a little bonus when we hit budget, right? Like we hit budget, got a bonus for your time, Rhea. People be getting a little bit of a bonus, right? I got a nice little bonus. And I remember I got the bonus, and then I was like, cool, bet. And then taxes hit. And that $1,000 gonna turn into about $600, maybe $650. Taxes, they just decimate your bonus. So it ain't all of a sudden, it ain't even as appealing as it originally was. So I think $1K for a person who is retired may not be that much of an incentive. But I have another idea though, because I was super salty about them taxes. But I have an idea for MPS since they have 83, they need to fill 83 positions. And this isn't going to solve it for this year. It could potentially help because there's some kids out there that are looking for jobs. But I think this is a sign that MPS should do a better job of recruiting students overall, right? And I would prefer them to take that $1,000 incentive and incentivize some young kid who's 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever it is, a young kid who is fresh out of college, who is looking to get their foot in the door to get a job. I think 1,000 is more appealing when you are 22 than when you are 62, 63. But I think overall, MPS needs to continue to find ways to be creative with their recruitment efforts. But it also makes me remember when I discussed the program on this station, on this show, where UW-Madison had graduate students who were working in the special education classrooms while in school at UW-Madison, but also working at MPS. And the goal was when they graduated from UW-Madison, they had to work at MPS. So that was just one of the resources and one of the tools MPS could use to fill some of these vacancies and gaps that they have. It wasn't a lot of students, but it was getting students who were getting a master's degree, who were going to be familiar with these students in MPS to be able to work inside of MPS. But unfortunately, the administration that we have now, the federal government, cut the funding to the partnership between UW-Madison and MPS because they claimed that it was had divisive ideologies. They had equity language in the grant application, and the administration said it promoted systemic racism. So these are the type of programs that we need to attract great teachers, but we have a government that is clearly anti-black kid education. And I feel like MPS needs to be hitting up all these HBCUs like they did back in like the 60s and the 70s, because a lot of y'all who are listening probably had a teacher who had a little southern drawl because of the fact that they recruited them from down south to come up here to MPS to teach. We need to do something like that again. We need to incentivize more graduates to come teach in MPS, but more importantly, we need to incentivize, yes, I don't give a damn what the government thinks. We need to incentivize more black teachers to come up here and teach some of our students. Not saying white teachers, Hispanic teachers, Asian teachers can't teach our students, but I'm somebody that understood, and I know Mr. Taylor, Mr. Sanders. Though I have very few black teachers coming up. Mrs. Flowers. I remember every single black teacher I had because it was different. It felt different. There's a different level of expectation that came from that black student. Mr. Taylor didn't play. He was calling home for my brother all the time. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Wallace, he acting up. Y'all better get him. Mr. Sanders didn't play with me. Mr. Taylor didn't play with me either. But Mr. Sanders, middle school, he didn't play. But it's important because when they see this black kid, it's more than just educating this black kid. It's about developing a young man. So we need to make sure that we are finding a way to recruit these students. And so take that $1K and use that to recruit students. So maybe even you have a housing complex that you work with to provide some type of housing discount or something like that where teachers have affordability for be able to live in a nice apartment. But they got to do something to fill that gap. And that's just an idea. And the last story I have for the day is about the SNAP benefits. I don't know if y'all heard this or not, but Truth Nation, the government shutdown, hope you heard of that, is in day number 20. And we've seen government employees go without work during that time. And so American citizens at this point, because they missed a check, are working without getting a check. Matter of fact, you can donate money to federal workers so they get paid or get some type of money. And I think it's very unfortunate that folks aren't getting paid. And now the United States Department of Agriculture has warned that if the government remains closed, SNAP benefits, aka food stamps, or what we call here in Milwaukee, WIC, will not be able to fund November. So what that means is that folks who are currently on WIC, or what that means here in the state of Wisconsin, 700,000 Wisconsinites and residents and millions of people across this country will be impacted if there is a lapse in funding for SNAP benefits. And if the government does not come to an agreement before October 31st, people will not get their SNAP benefits come November. Now, that is extremely unfortunate because that means people ain't eating. And people make jokes all the time about having food stamps. And, you know, in reality, food stamps play a vital role in, you know, the nutrition and people eating, right? And kids eating. And so I understand people joke about this, but this is a real thing that's important because if people don't have food SNAP benefits, some kids are going to go hungry. Millions of children are going to go hungry. Families are going to go hungry. This program provides low-income households with just an additional funding to be able to purchase food to help them survive, to help them get by. It is something that is a lifeline and something that is needed. So it's very unfortunate that we're looking at a ticking time bomb of folks potentially not getting their SNAP benefits. And if people can't feed their families, y'all know what it is. People look for other avenues and other routes to feed their family. People will rob to make ends meet. I'm telling you that now. People gonna do whatever they gotta do to make ends meet. But also with that, I do believe it's important for people to know the facts about this as well, because a lot of people, again, there's some misconceptions and stigmas around SNAP benefits, food stamps, WIC, and so a lot of misconceptions about, oh, people are just milking off the government. I just want y'all to understand this, is that in 2024, about 1 in 8 people in Wisconsin receive SNAP benefits, according to the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, which average a monthly benefit for a Wisconsin household of $161. And so these ain't people just trying to get hundreds of, $400, $500. These people get $161, which ain't a lot, but that is something. When you take $161 out of people's budgets when the rising cost of food is going up, that's going to hurt. So let's try to figure out what we're going to do, because something has to give. And I understand the Democrats feel like they're putting up the good fight. I agree. I think y'all fighting for people's health care is a good fight. Y'all tried to draw a line in the sand and saying, nope, we ain't going to do this. But at a certain point, you're going to have to say we fought the good fight, but we can't continue on like this because too many people going without checks. Now people going without their benefits, Veteran Affairs having programs cut. Like, I understand. I would just encourage people to get out to vote. I think the Democrats need to change their strategy of saying, we tried, but, we couldn't hold out any longer, and make sure that y'all tell people to get out and vote. Because right now, one thing we can't sacrifice is folks going a whole month without getting a paycheck, and we can't sacrifice folks not having the SNAP benefits they need in order to help them survive, in order to help them eat. That's just something that we cannot sacrifice. So at a certain point, the sacrifice may have to be people's health care going up, because it can't be folks not getting paid, and it can't be folks not getting their SNAP benefits. But that was the weekend recap here on Truth to Power on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. When we come back, Truth Nation, I want to hear from y'all on this. The No Kings protest happened this weekend. I was not there. I don't participate in stuff like that. And I'll tell y'all why I don't participate in stuff like that. But if you were there, or if you think black folks need to be there, we need to be out there marching. 833-212-1017. I want to hear from you. But the No Kings protest happened over this weekend, and I want to share my thoughts about millions of people across this country getting out and using their vote for change, maybe? We'll discuss that next. This is Truth to Power. Kyle Wallace. We'll be back.
More of Truth to Power is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey, Truth fam, this is your girl, Melanie Ricks, and I want to remind you to tune into Nothing But the Truth digital show with me, Melanie Ricks, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., a new episode drops on the 1017 The Truth YouTube page. And since it is on YouTube, I hold nothing back. I give you all my hot takes on celebrity gossip and give you the tea on relationships that you don't want to miss. Subscribe to 1017 The Truth on YouTube so you never miss Nothing But the Truth digital show, dropping every Wednesday at 6 p.m., presented by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
Hey, Journey team, it's me, Coach Erica. The clock is ticking. Are you being intentional each day? Is your mindset in the right place? Are you financially planning for your future? Do you have life insurance? What are you waiting on? Allow me to assist you on your journey to success. Visit ericaodomjourney.com today or email me at ericaodom@odomhomes.com. Let's take this next step together.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Gina Della and her team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin always have the winning game plan. Check out the championship caliber play call this month. A whole house of beautiful, new, energy-efficient Pella windows for as low as $297 a month, and get this, 0% interest for up to 60 months. That's like running a drive that keeps moving the chains with no penalties and no interest. And I can tell you from my experience, Pella Windows actually stop the drafts. You'll stay comfortable no matter how cold it gets outside. Think about it. Energy savings, comfort, and a great monthly payment you can actually manage. That's why I trust Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and why this is the right time to make your move. Call today and schedule your free consultation at PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 10/31 of 2025.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Monday night at Lambeau just got even better thanks to American Family Insurance. Enter the Dream Weekend Sweepstakes for your chance at the ultimate Packers game day experience. One lucky winner will score tickets to the November 10th game, a pre-game tailgate in Titletown inclusive of meals and games, a signed Jordan Love jersey, Packers tours, swag, and more. Your Dream Weekend could be waiting. Don't miss your chance to enter. No purchase necessary. Enter by 11:59 Central Time on October 23rd. That's coming up this Thursday. Coming up this Thursday. See official rules and enter at amfam.com/Packers. I think I can enter for this. I'm not an employee of American Family Insurance, but you should be a user of American Family Insurance. Why are you looking at me like that? I mean, you looked at me. I said I'm not an employee of American Family Insurance, and she looked like, are you? No, I ain't employed by them. But I will say this, you should use them, amfam.com. Visit amfam.com today to find an agent near you, or get an instant quote online from car insurance or homeowners insurance or even life insurance. Again, you can bundle it too. That's amfam.com today. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm your host, Kyle Wallace, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Y'all can call in at 833-212-1017, or you can always watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Give us a like and give us a share as well. Now, listen, there was a big protest on Saturday, right? I told y'all what I did this weekend. I was laid up, chilling, watching college football, and then I went out and kicked it. I didn't do the protest. Nothing against it. Nothing against the No Kings protest. I'm with that. No Kings. I don't want a king. Kings aren't good. I'm a fan of Hamilton. I know Kings aren't great. And I'm happy that millions of Americans use their power and their right to protest in this country this weekend. And this is what you should do when you're unhappy about something or anything going on. You should demonstrate, right? You should let people know peacefully, as they did this weekend, peacefully. And that is what we saw, and had great weather for it. And I'm happy that in our state alone, the state of Wisconsin, there were 60 different cities and areas around this state that participated, with over 1,000 of attendees participating all across the state of Wisconsin. Many different walks of life, people out there marching and people protesting against, I would say, Donald Trump. But this whole protest was coordinated nationwide, and it was organized to challenge what people would describe as an increase of authoritarianism here in this country. Right? Some of the stuff that Donald Trump and his administration is doing. They're against some of the immigration policies that we're seeing being enforced, and the raids and the civil liberties and the use of executive power, right? People are just upset with the direction of this country, and they decided to display their displeasure by protesting. I'm all for that. Now, with that, I also want these people to understand that when you protest, it means nothing if you don't get out and vote. Because that's my whole thing, is that you could do all these demonstrations, you can get out in these streets, but if you don't get out and actually vote, then this means nothing. And some of these folks who are mad about what is happening in this country are some of the same folks who are, pushing back against this stuff right now. Some of these folks pushing back now are some of the same folks that decided not to vote in November. Some of the folks decided they were going, I'm going to stay home last November. I'm going to be okay. What's crazy to me is that when Biden was in office, I don't recall people, having a no kings protest, because obviously Biden wasn't a king. I don't recall people being upset with Biden wielding his power to try to arrest American citizens, because regardless of how you feel, they are arresting and racially profiling American citizens. Are they snatching up Americans and releasing them? Yes, but do realize that is what's happening. They're snatching up American citizens off the street. They're harassing American citizens on the street. If y'all saw, like I did on social media, shout out to the queen from New York, who told the ICE folks, I wish y'all would touch me. Rhea, you saw that? She said, I wish you would. I'd beat your ass. I said, go ahead, let them know. You ain't playing them games. Like, I'm for that. But also, quick note, because some folks have been anti the protests. I don't know, have you seen any of that, Rhea? Anti, people be like, oh, these protesters are bad. I know Donald Trump put something out there where I was told, I didn't want to watch it, but I guess he had an airplane he was in, had a crown on, and he dropped poop on the protesters, which is interesting coming from the president of the United States. But hey, some people voted for him. But some of the Republicans I saw were upset about the protests. Oh, they're protesting. They're mad. They're being soft. One man got his ass. Well, he didn't get his ass beat. He fell and busted his head open. Pretty interesting. But quick note for those Republicans who are making fun of people protesting, y'all must have forgot y'all was outside protesting during COVID-19 mandates when they told y'all to, hey, you need to social distance, and hey, maybe you want to stay in the house a little bit more. Nobody told you had to stay in the house. They just said, hey, when you go to this salon, maybe we should have social distancing so we don't have people in small spaces where maybe we can pass this COVID-19. That was during the Trump administration as well. So y'all were mad about that. And also, y'all must have forgot about January 6th. That occurred. That was like a real thing. I don't know if y'all recall that. So for the Republicans who are trying to make fun of the folks that are out protesting, y'all memory is terrible. Y'all should just shut up, because y'all must have forgot about the peaceful, the non-peaceful protests y'all had. Y'all must have forgot about the fact that armed men ran up in the state capitol in Michigan to try to go and get Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, and they were charged with actually doing that. So y'all just need to chill. Definitely need to chill when y'all make fun of people, because y'all was also doing the same thing as well. But with that being said, something that I heard from this weekend, and really this morning I heard with Bailey and Dame on Truth in the Morning, I heard them talking about there weren't a lot of black people at these protests. And that's where I want to go with this, because I thought it was interesting that they talked about not being a lot of black people at these protests. And to be honest, I don't think we need to really be there at these protests. Because when I think about it, I think we did what we were supposed to do. I think when we got out there and we voted overwhelmingly to push back against a sequel of Donald Trump, we did what we were supposed to do in November 2024. Black women voted 90+% for Kamala Harris. Black men voted 78% for Kamala Harris. So we did what we were supposed to do. See, it wasn't us that caused for this to happen. We used our power to vote to say we don't want to see the sequel. We don't want Donald Trump to get in office. But the problem was, it was the white men, it was the white women, it was the Hispanic men who got us here today. We are in this position because of those folks. It's that easy. White men, Hispanic men, and white women are the reason why. Now, white women did vote for Kamala Harris, barely. They did vote more for Kamala Harris, but not enough of them. So when I look at what people were doing yesterday, this was not really for us. Like the battle that they had, yes, I support that battle, but we ain't the ones who voted to destroy this country from within. That wasn't us. We weren't the ones that decided that it was better to stay home, overwhelmingly, than to not go and vote for Kamala. We weren't the ones that went up to the polls and said, you know what? I want to vote for Donald Trump. That wasn't us. We didn't do that. That was them. So, yes, we black folks, we can and we should stay home. I did. I had my feet up. I had a good time. Good time. They cook. I had some buffalo chicken dip. Had some pulled beef. It was delicious. And I had me a cocktail. Couple of them. There's a couple bees out there. Had to kill them. Well, I had a great time. While folks was out there protesting, I was having a great time. Because at the end of the day, because we weren't out there, I don't want to hear a peep from nobody because we already did our job. We showed at the polls exactly what we were for. We were on the right end of history when we voted for Kamala Harris. We didn't vote for this. So at the end of the day, I don't want to hear black people being accused or blamed for anything. 833-212-1017. Do you think black people should be out protesting with these folks? Should they be protesting the election results? Should they be protesting what is going on in this country? 833-212-1017. Because I was even told by a white person, hey, it's not your job. Y'all don't need to be out here. Y'all did what y'all was supposed to do. But I want to hear from you, Truth Nation. Does America need black people out front and center, leading and organizing these protests in order to actually get things done? 833-212-1017. Or can we take a back seat? I'm going to go to my producer here real quick and ask her, do you think black people need to be out here protesting, leading, and organizing in order for things to get done, especially as we head into 2026?
No.
So you said we don't need to be out there?
I don't think we need to be out there.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, but I do want to hear from Truth Nation. Because I think it's time for us to take a back seat, and we need to let some of these Hispanic folk, or excuse me, I say Hispanic men, and white folk who failed us, I want them to get out there and encourage their people to vote. But 833-212-1017, that is the Truth Talk and text line. But Truth Nation, something else with this too, is that one thing that bothers me a lot about these protests is that folks get out there, right? They have this emotional response. I remember in 2020, a lot of these folks got out there and they was protesting, right? I remember, I didn't get in the streets in 2020 either. But a lot of these folks is out there dancing. A lot of these folks out there clapping, having a good time, partying. Hell, here in Milwaukee, they was walking up and down the streets for a while. They became families. That was their peoples. They were protesting, again, they were protesting the right thing. They were protesting against the murder of George Floyd. They were protesting what was happening in this country. I get it. I'm all for that. But the problem that I have is that y'all thought police brutality must have ended with the 2020 election because y'all sure didn't get out the vote in 2024. Matter of fact, some of y'all that was protesting in 2020, that voted in 2020, didn't get out the vote. Y'all forgot how terrible it was 2016 to 2020 under Donald Trump. We had 4 million less Americans get out and vote in 2024 than what we had in 2020. That is a huge difference. It is a huge difference, especially when you're talking about looking at 4 different states that could have potentially swing states that could have swung for Kamala Harris. We would be in a different situation right now. When we're talking about 4 million people, but you're looking at a state like Pennsylvania where 120,000 people voted for Trump more than Kamala, or 80,000 people in Michigan, or 29,000 people here in Wisconsin, or 46,000 people here in Nevada, that's less than 280,000 people combined who could have swung this direction, this election in a different direction, but more importantly, could have swung this country in a different direction. We would not be in the predicament that we are in now, the anxiety that we feel, the anger that we have from this imagery of that we see in these streets. We wouldn't have that if Kamala was the president. So while people were, protesting on Saturday, great. Good job, bravo. I'm happy that you got out and you used your right to protest. But keep that same energy. Don't be emotional today because you're seeing Hispanic folks being pulled off the street and thrown in the back of cars and disappearing. I understand that's a hard emotion to feel, but I need y'all to understand that you got to keep that same energy when it comes to voting, but in every single election. And when I say every single election, I'm not just talking about presidential election that comes every 4 years. No. I need y'all to be voting in the governor election that's coming up in 2026 in different states. I need y'all to be voting in the local state election when you talk about mayoral races. when you're talking about county board and some of these places of y'all listening at the village president. Y'all need to be voting in every single election because, yes, on a grand scheme and grand scale, the president makes a lot of decisions that right now we're seeing a president utilize or, I believe, abuse his power. But on a local level, there are other issues as well that need to be addressed, and we need to make sure we're voting in those elections. But again, 833-212-1017. Is now the time for black people to take the back seat, or should we be out there protesting? But 833-212-1017. I'll take your calls. I'll take your texts. Also, on the award-winning 1017 The Truth on YouTube, you can go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. There's a poll up there. Shout out to my producer, Rhea Riley. Should black people be out protesting this administration? Yes or no? Go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. I know what I'm going to pick. Nope, we did our part. But I do want to hear from y'all. We'll talk to Lisa coming up here. I'll read some of y'all chats as well. This is Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace. We'll be back in 4 minutes.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Are you ready to live your most radiant life? Join AARP's Luminous Life, a celebration of wellness, empowerment, and community for African American women ages 45 to 65. Discover expert tips on healthcare, hair care, and wealth building, all in one uplifting experience. Visit aarp.org/Milwaukee to register for the October 25th event in Milwaukee and shine from the inside out. Luminous Life, because every woman deserves to glow. Visit aarp.org/Milwaukee for more information today and to register today. That's aarp.org/Milwaukee.
This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
What was the life change? You know, we all know it happened and we know things happen and you have bad kidneys, but what was the life change afterwards?
A couple things. Before they even allow you to get on the list, they make you go through a battery of tests. And, you know, a lot of people don't qualify because they're overweight or they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So all those things are requirements before you can even get approved to be on the list. So I had...
Wait, you got to be approved to be on the list?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's interesting. There's a professional athlete or former professional athlete I know right now that has kidney disease and he's on dialysis and he wants to get on the list and he's not accepting all the things you have to do, you know, to get on the list. But yeah, so for me, I spent 30 years in the automobile industry. You know, that's 12, 14-hour days, eating whatever somebody brings you to eat, whatever you run out and grab, McDonald's, whatever. It was never salads and, you know.
Yeah, but that was a choice, right?
It was a choice. Yeah. But I had to change all of that to even qualify to be on the list. I had to get down to the weight I had to be at. I had to get my phosphorus under control, my potassium under control.
Wait a minute, even though somebody said they would give you a kidney,
absolutely,
you had to still make yourself eligible?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the athlete, his relative actually died, and they wanted to take his organs, and they couldn't because he wasn't qualified. He wasn't on the list. Wow. Yeah, you have to be.
So there are over 100,000 people on that waiting list. So they are very serious.
And how many donors do we have?
And that's the problem. We don't have nearly enough donors.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a critical need. But they are serious about who they're giving that gift of life to because there are so many people who are literally dying waiting for it.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Nazir Spencer. It's Victory Monday for the Packers as they get their first road win of the year against the Cardinals 27-23. Quarterback Jordan Love on Micah Parsons' breakout game.
I can't state enough how fun it is just to have him on this team and how much of a playmaker he is. You know, in big situations like that, you know, having 3 sacks on the day is big time.
Packers now head to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. The Milwaukee Bucks are back on Wednesday night hosting the Washington Wizards and Chris Middleton. Here's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
He should get the warmest welcome ever. You know, when he comes here and he sees his tribute video, he should, you know, be in tears crying before the game.
Tip-off is at 7 on Wednesday. This sports update is brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams, member FDIC.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
One call, that's all with Gruber Law Offices. If you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, make sure y'all make that one call, that's all to Gruber, and he'll take care of the rest. I just saw his son, Steve Gruber. Y'all see him in the commercials, man. Super cool guy. Definitely looking out for those who are injured in an accident. And what I love about him is the fact that they focus on the legal aspect. Getting in a car accident can be traumatic, right? You just want to focus on healing, and that's what they allow you to do. But one of my favorite things about them, I know they're personable, they're great, but you never pay a single penny. Nothing ever comes out of your pocket until they win your case. No fee until they win your case. So get with a law firm that has results to speak for themselves by contacting Gruber Law Offices today by visiting gruber-law.com. That is gruber-law.com, or calling them at 414-276-6666. That's 414-276-6666. It's one call, that's all with Gruber Law Offices. This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I'm your host, Kyle Wallace, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue. You can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. That is 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. And we're talking about this No Kings protest, right? We're talking about these folks who are getting out there and utilizing their voice, their right, absolute right, to protest. And I discussed that protest, which took place on Saturday across the country, right? This is a protest nationwide against the Trump administration and what they don't like about the Trump administration. And I'm glad it happened. I'm really glad that it happened. But also I want to know, is this for us? Because when I look at these protests, I don't really think that this is something that we, as a black community, we don't need to be out there at the No Kings. You can go. I'm not saying don't go. What I'm saying is, if somebody tried to give us a hard time for us not being there, because I do know somebody who was there. He was a white dude. He said, yeah, it was 80% white. And then I saw some Hispanic folks and then Native American. But he said, not a lot of black people. He said some sprinkles, not a lot. And I said, good. Because we did what we were supposed to. We don't need to get out in the streets and protest to tell people that this is some nonsense and malarkey going to be coming. We knew what was coming. That's why we voted the way we did. But do y'all think black people should be out there on the front line still right now protesting against the nonsense we see in this country? 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and Text line. And Lisa in Milwaukee, what are your thoughts about black people getting out there and protesting right now?
You know, I think they're finally listening to their ancestors. Back a few months later, there was a thing on TikTok when they said, sit your butt down. It's funny. It was hilarious. But look, the ancestors had did that. They done that. Whenever you ask for blacks to come protest and fight for your rights are our rights are your rights too, and this and that, and then at the end, blacks do not get what they're fighting for. Besides, y'all put them in the office. Black folks didn't. So that's your fight. You go now. You know we don't. Hey, we ain't gonna fight if we ain't got nothing to do with it. So you know what? You made that problem like our parents. You get your butt out of it. That's your problem. You did that. So they gotta know. Now our generations, like, that's in their 50s and the younger generation, if it don't make sense, they ain't joining in. They're tired of fighting. For what? And nothing's changing. Okay, you give us this. You say, okay, we give it, but then you take it back. We can vote, but then, no, we're going to take the black vote back. But you're not making any sense. But you want us to come protest.
I hear you, Lisa. I appreciate your thoughts and your comments on this because I hear what you're saying. I really do. But on a talking text line, on YouTube chat, make sure y'all go to the YouTube chat. Y'all, the way y'all chatting today, I can actually follow and keep up with it. And on the YouTube chat, there's an interesting conversation going on there. Make sure y'all go to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. And I had somebody here, that one guy said, I'm Mexican. Should I be voting in this poll? What was the poll again, Rhea?
Should black people be protesting this administration?
As a Mexican person, you are able to answer that question. As a white person listening, you're able to answer that question. Anybody can answer that question because the thing is that you, as somebody, you can say, hey, no, this is for y'all to sit out or say, no. I understand the way y'all vote, and I understand y'all always supporting, but we need y'all with us because we need everybody there. So, yeah, everybody should be able to vote. Shout out to David, DVJ. He said he was out there this weekend. He saw a mix of a lot of younger people. And shout out to Brian Rott on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. He said, I vote in every single election. Shout out to you, Brian. And he's a white man. He said, I have never voted for a Republican in my 50 years of voting. I was there on Saturday. And to those who are Hispanic and those who are white and Asians, Native American, whatever it is, but specifically to Hispanic men and to white men and white women, it is important that y'all continue to do stuff like this, so y'all use y'all voice and convince other people and let them understand what they are seeing is something that does not reflect the country that we want to be. I think it's important that y'all understand that just because you have never voted Republican, and this ain't no shot at you, but this is a shot at your kinfolk. Some of your folk that you know went out there vote. Hell, I work with people around here who I know voted for Donald Trump, and people they can do whatever they want to do. But I know that if they were snatching little white girls off the streets, if they were racially profiling little white boys in the suburbs around Milwaukee, or if they were actually snatching up little white boys, if the police went around or somebody came around and started snatching up little white kids across the city of Milwaukee, they would be up in arms. If they went out to Cedarburg and started snatching up little white kids, or Port Washington or Sheboygan, and little white kids started getting snatched up, or white people started getting snatched up from the streets, they would be outraged. They would be against what is happening. And unfortunately, it is that mentality of until it happens to me, I'm not going to say nothing. So I do want people to understand, whether you're white, you're black, or whoever it is, especially for white folks and Hispanic folks, y'all definitely need to get up there and use your voice to convince folks around you that they made a mistake. They made a big mistake. But with that mistake, something else that I want to talk about, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, that's attached to this fallacy, this false narrative, this fake news, as they would say. The fake news that people like to say that black men had something to do with Trump winning. It infuriates me. When I see the headlines, literally Google black men swing towards Donald Trump, and you'll see articles of people breaking down and doing analysis of, the black male vote swung this way. Why did Donald Trump get more of the black vote? This is as false as it can be. It's a bold-faced lie. Because when in the world they're losing 78% of a vote, 78% of a vote, when did that become a statement or a message? Rhea, if you got a 22% on a test in high school, yep, I'm calling you. If you got a 22% on the test in high school, would that be a passing grade?
No, it would not.
That's what I'm saying. So how in the hell can somebody get 22% of the black male vote and people out here, or 21%, and people out here talking about, that black male vote swung for Trump? We need to stop spreading that narrative, and we need to stop buying into that, because that's just not true. It's not true. The media is trying to sell you that a shift of 5% in a direction for black men in one election is showing a trend. That's not a damn trend. That's an anomaly. Trends happening over periods of time. Now, with black men, all of a sudden, it go from 21% to 30% to 35% to 40%. Then we got something to talk about. But there's nothing to talk about here. We are the ones that they're trying to blame, and we cannot allow for them to blame us for the reason why Donald Trump won that election. Don't let them say black men did this or black men did that. Hell no. Black men didn't do none of that. We got up and we voted for Kamala Harris. That's exactly what we did. Don't fall for that fake news, because it's just not true. And what it does is it takes the heat off of white men who continue to vote for Republicans because they vote what they believe is in their best interest, but it takes the heat off Hispanic men, where 55% of Hispanic men voted for Donald Trump. And why that is so significant, see, this is a real change you should be talking about, not the 5% of black men that changed. You should be talking about how 55% of Hispanic men voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 election, whereas in 2020, 59% of Hispanic men voted for Joe Biden. That's a huge swing. Joe Biden won almost 60% of the Hispanic men vote. And then in 2024, it flipped to where Donald Trump won 55% of the Hispanic vote. So some Hispanic men, not all, just some, because we're not, 45% of people know. And even of the 55%, it wasn't even about that. But I will say some Hispanic men saw a woman. Some Hispanic men saw a black woman and decided that they would rather vote to deport their families. They would rather vote to have their wives, their cousins, their mother, their father, their family members ripped away from them and deported than to vote for a black woman. So this is why when I hear people talking about the black man did this or whatever it was, it bothers me. As a black man, it bothers me. because never in my life did 22% ever mean anything good when it comes to wanting to win something. But somehow they trying to paint the narrative that we didn't do our jobs. No, we did our jobs. We overwhelmingly supported a black woman who was running for president. No other group supported her more than us other than black women. Don't let the loud minority lie to you and tell you that black men voted for Donald Trump because a very small, minuscule percent of them did. Black men supported Kamala Harris, and it's laughable to think that 21% of people should be a big shift in anything, because it's not. It's just a lie that they tell you. But again, 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talking text line. And I do want to know, should black people be out there not voting? Should black people be out there protesting? Should we be joining these protests? Do they need us to lead these protests to actually have something get done? 833-212-1017. You can also watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That's 1017 The Truth on YouTube, where you can comment, and you can also vote on the poll that we have up there that asks folks, should black people be out protesting this administration, yes or no? But Security Mike, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on black people protesting?
I mean, I think it's an either or, because a lot of the policies are affecting us. But hey, let them Hispanic and most of the whites, because really that's how Trump got back in there. They said because the white females didn't want to forsake their men, so they voted for Trump. They don't care about the abortion stuff, so they basically voted
Security
for
Mike,
Trump.
I think white women actually voted. I think white women voted for Kamala Harris like 50-some%. But I'll check that. But I think white women actually voted for Kamala.
Well, I don't know. Talking to Sherman, he said that it's really the white woman. But anyway, the Hispanic dudes want to try to blame us now, because my figure was 56% Hispanic males voted for dude. 36% Hispanic females voted for dude. So you really got to put that on them. Don't try to blame us now, because like you said, 22% ain't nothing. But Trump did get about 11% more of the male black vote than he normally get. He normally would have gotten. So some of our brothers did sell us out too, but it's mainly them Hispanics.
It was the Hispanic men. And really quickly, white women. Here's the stat: 53% of white women did vote for Donald Trump. I must be thinking of the white women with a college degree. I think they overwhelmingly supported Kamala Harris. So that might be where I got it switched up, where the white women with a college degree voted for Kamala Harris, whereas those non-college degree voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And then it also, so 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. So thank you. Want to make sure I got that one correct. But 833-212-1017. We'll wrap up the conversation on the other side.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this.
Congratulations. Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Oh.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Gina Della and her team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin always have the winning game plan. Check out the championship caliber play call this month. A whole house of beautiful, new, energy-efficient Pella windows for as low as $297 a month, and get this, 0% interest for up to 60 months. That's like running a drive that keeps moving the chains savings with no penalties and no interest. And I can tell you from my experience, Pella Windows actually stop the drafts. You'll stay comfortable no matter how cold it gets outside. Think about it. Energy savings, comfort, and a great monthly payment you can actually manage. That's why I trust Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and why this is the right time to make your move. Call today and schedule your free consultation at PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. Ends 10/31 of 2025.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. To learn more about how you can take your first steps in buying your forever home, visit associatedbank.com/lending. That's associatedbank.com/lending. Or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. The American Cancer Society is launching Voices of Black Women, the largest ever study focused on Black women's health. This groundbreaking initiative is aimed at understanding health conditions like cancer so we can learn how to improve overall health among Black women. If you're a Black woman between 25 and 55 with no history of cancer, you can join by completing an online survey and short follow-ups twice a year. Your voice matters, because together we can uncover the root causes of cancer disparities and build a healthier future for generations to come. Learn more and enroll today at voices.cancer.org.
Don't let a trade-in get in the way of the phone you want. Now you can get $1,000 off any phone with no trade-in required, and we'll pay off your current contract when you switch. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
Gruber Law Offices, serving the people of Wisconsin for over 30 years. Call us today if you've been injured. Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of the Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, ho!
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am your host, Kyle Wallace. We're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue. And I just want to wrap up today's conversation as we were talking about this protesting, right? And I am 100% for protesting. I want people to get out and protest. I do. I really want you to. But also, it's not on Black people when it comes to protesting what's going on in this country. Y'all can get out there and do it. We can. But I don't think it's on us for us to have to do that, because of the fact that we went out there and we voted. We voted against what we're seeing today. We tried to tell y'all, as we always do, we try to tell y'all what is coming, what could be the bad side of this. And sometimes people got to touch that fire in order to get burnt. And a lot of our Hispanic brothers and sisters touch that fire, and unfortunately, they getting burnt. A lot of federal workers went out there and voted for Donald Trump, and they getting burnt. A lot of farmers went out there and voted for Donald Trump, and guess what? They getting all them, harvesting all them soybeans and don't know what they gonna do with it. Y'all got burnt. So again, at the end of the day, don't blame Black folks for none of this. We did our job. Now it's on others to step up and do their job. It is on others to tell the people in their family, y'all need to vote this way, or this is why we can't allow stuff like this for this to happen. That is on y'all, not us. But this has been Truth to Power. Kyle Walls on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Shout out to y'all on YouTube, always holding it down. Appreciate y'all. DVJ, Josh Jermaine, y'all be good. Everybody be happy. We cool. Let's be respectful. But at the end of the day, I love y'all, Truth Nation. The Tory Lowe Show is up next with Homer Blow. Homer Blow's in for Tory Lowe from 1 to 4. Peace out, Truth Nation. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Coming with straight truth.
Everything got a message. I'll say this. Y'all can't be tired.